Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. I'm Taylor Wyatt. We're excited to be here with you this week and excited to keep this conversation going. Last week, we were talking about NDAs and the circumstances surrounding NDAs, when it's appropriate to bring an NDA to a meeting with a consultant or an investor, and when it's better to just have a casual idea about your product. If you're interested in that and missed the episode last week, please go back and check it out. We're always welcome to feedback and questions, and we'd love to hear from you. This week, we're going to be talking about when it's appropriate for your small business to consider an application. There's several circumstances that go into deciding if an application is a good fit for a business and if the timing is right. Whether you're a business who already has multiple applications or are interested in getting into the process for the first time, you're really looking at the same situations. And ultimately, you're trying to figure out if creating an application is going to solve a problem, and if that problem is important enough for the investment that you're going to make in the application and the return that you're going to get on the product. And so this episode is going to dive into that. We're going to be talking about how to make those decisions, what you should consider and what you should look at before starting the process with a consultant. And the first step is really simple. It's just sit down and figure out what your problems are. What keeps you up at night? What problems do you have at the office? And how, if it can at all, how can technology help you solve those problems? So being able to have a complete list of everything that's going on in your company that causes you a problem, it will be pretty immediate to see what are the things that technology can help with and what are the things that technology cannot help with. When you really separate out those lists, you can start determining what solutions could be put in place to help with those problems. Being a mobile-first technology company and a consultant company, we hear a lot of different problems from businesses. And one problem that we hear really frequently is someone coming in and saying, a particular part of my business is very manual. We are still using pen and paper, and sometimes we even hear about fax machines. So being able to figure out how to streamline those processes to make it easier is really important. But it's not only a consideration of simply eliminating pen and paper, because ultimately paper is inexpensive and it's an easy form to use in the office. It's also considering how you can capture the data that your customers are filling out or that your even employees are filling out and giving to you, and evaluate how you're doing as a company. So if you know that you're using a specific form to capture information from your customers, being able to evaluate who your customers are, how they fill out the forms, how they answer certain questions is invaluable. And having that in a digital format versus a paper format really brings a lot of value to the table. That's something that we hear really frequently, and it's really easy to show the value in how an application product could eliminate the pen and paper component and, more importantly, provide valuable data and reporting elements. So whether it's on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, you can evaluate that data and that information and see what's the next step and where to go from there. There's lots of other reasons that someone may come into the office and talk to us and evaluate whether an application would be a good fit for them. We're going to talk about 3 other things that we hear in the office really frequently, just to give you an idea of a problem that you could be having in your business and how an application could be really helpful. The next thing that we hear a lot is, my business is doing really well, I'm busy all the time, and I can't make time for anything else, but it really takes me or one of my associates to capture a sale. So it's a one-to-one sales environment where I need to be there coaching someone, or I need to be there consulting them, or I'm doing personal training. Whatever it may be, it's just really difficult without the use of technology for it not to be a very manual process going through that. And then evaluating how can I produce content and put it on an application to get it to more customers, where I can really sell my product or even my content in a one-to-many market instead of in a one-to-one environment. So that's very simple, whether it's putting videos or tips or engaging in your customers, it obviously has great marketing benefits, and having that content available to promote on social media is very important. But it's also an avenue for you to sell a product or sell a service to multiple people instead of just one person at one time. That's something that we also see frequently. The other element, touching along the same lines, is sometimes people have accumulated content over a long period of time. So maybe they've been teaching training courses and they've got videos of training courses, or they've captured great photos, great videos, great tips, and they want to figure out how they can set up content and push it through a mobile application. So it could be a subscription that customers are paying for. Going back to the personal training example, it could be something where a personal trainer has uploaded multiple videos, fitness tips, health tips, and they're pushing that content out through an application so that users could subscribe even at a lower fee to get those same tips and training methods without having just that one-to-one environment. So it really helps you make money while you sleep, and everybody wants to make money while they sleep. So it's a good avenue to consider if you have some of that valuable content and you want to reach multiple people. The last consideration that we see really frequently in the office is a company who simply wants to create an application to create loyalty to their customers and to create a huge convenience to their customers. So we do have customers come in who don't want to make any money off an application at all, but simply want the application as a marketing value and also want the application so that it makes things much more convenient for their customers. An example, since we've been talking about videos, I'll talk about Hulu and Netflix. If you want to subscribe to Hulu for a video service, you can go straight to Hulu's website, sign up, put in your credit card information, and you've got a subscription to view Hulu's content on any of your devices. Same with Netflix. But you can't actually sign up for a subscription on the device. And that's intentional. They're not trying to make money off the device themselves. They are simply providing an avenue and a convenience for their customers where they aren't charging, and you can simply see their content anytime, anywhere, on the go. And it creates another reason, a very powerful reason, for customers to want to continue subscribing to their service, continue buying their service, and also just a brand loyalty because they see their content on their devices. It's very top of mind, it's a reminder, and it's really helped grow these two very large companies. And it's a great example of why a company may elect to invest in an application without a direct revenue source from it. There's no question that Netflix and Hulu have made additional revenue by having mobile applications, but there's not a direct correlation between the mobile app and a charge on your credit card. So this is a lot of information to consider. All of the problems going on in your business, how to solve those problems, but it's so important because if this is something that you can use technology to solve one of these problems, it could be an exponential savings for you, convenience for your customer, can add a revenue channel, can make things so much more convenient around the office. It's just figuring out how to get the best use and really more importantly the best value out of your technology and out of your applications. Another important thing to look at is we always encourage all of our clients to stay attuned and up to date on what their competitors are doing. What are your competitors doing in the market? Do they have applications? What are they doing with those applications? Are they really engaging with their customers? And if so, what does that look like? How are they using an application to really improve their bottom line, or to create a better relationship, or even to create an efficiency? And being able to see how other people are using applications in your market can really give you a huge advantage. So it's important to be able to identify why companies have elected to use applications and how you could do it differently. More important, how you could do it better. If your competitors are using applications to solve a certain problem, what are you going to do that's really going to make you stand out and be different? You shouldn't create an application just because your competitor has one or because you think that you should. It should solve a problem. It should, again, create an efficiency, make you more money, or create loyalty with your customers and a convenience for your customers. So if it's really not fitting into one of those categories, you need to evaluate if this is the right investment and what else would really be more valuable to help you stand out and be different. The other thing that we really encourage our clients to do is to come with us and to sit down and to describe, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish out of this? Is it that you want 50 customers on the application in the first 2 months? Is it that you really want the investment to pay for itself in the first 12 to 24 months? Is it that you want a process in the office to take half the time that it did before you had the application? It doesn't have to be specific or precise. It's just really important that you understand the value that you're getting from the product and what the metrics are that you want. Because whether you're talking to a consultant company like ours or your internal team, being able to communicate what you want out of the product helps them meet that goal. They're able to say, okay, I know that my customer, my client, really wants 50 customers in the first 3 months. So I need to set expectations on how they're going to get to those first 50 customers and what that looks like for them, both the efforts that we're going to spend creating the product and the efforts that they're going to spend engaging with their customers, telling them about their product and how it's going to work. So going into this understanding, first and foremost, what your problems are, what are your biggest problems, how is technology going to solve it, and how does that create value for you? Secondly, what are your competitors doing in the market? Are they doing something better than you? Is there a way for you to stand out and to be different? Do they have applications? Why do they have applications, or why don't they? And then lastly, be specific. What are your goals? What do you want from this? Be able to answer the question, what do you expect to happen after the application is developed? Where do you see it going from there? What's the first 6 months after the application look like? And what does the first year after the application look like? And once you're able to identify what problem you're trying to solve, be able to answer the question of how that will create value and what it looks like in your particular market, even compared to other competitive applications, it's really a good time for you to go speak to someone, whether it's an internal team that you trust or a consulting firm that you trust, and come and sit down and say, this is why I'm considering this product, what's the next step for me, and how can I start this process to create this application for my small business. That really covers the 3 areas that we wanted to touch on during this podcast. I hope that it's been helpful and given you a better idea in how we recommend starting the process of understanding if an application is in fact the right fit for your small business, and if so, how you should start the process. If you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week.